complementing the Nicaraguan really well.
What are you smoking there? Oh, the surrogate?
Yeah. Just working my way through their sampling. It balances out the Nicaraguan, lets you taste the wrapper a little more.
Okay. Marty Upton is in. Oh, what's up, Marty?
Right here.
You gonna share this up?
Oh yeah. I'm
I don't know.
giving Frank a hard time right now.
Good.
I did like last week though when you wanted to know whether Punk Bitch would show up across on the
On the captions?
on the captions.
Punk Bitch didn't.
No.
It did
No,
not?
it didn't. No.
It's funny.
I think we're gonna have ourselves a show. Yeah, this is probably gonna work. Alright, we'll play this by ear. Do you have an idea what we're gonna talk about? Good. Good.
I don't know.
Marty, do you?
I figured we'd wing it.
Okay, good. You understand how this works. Good. 1:30.
What's the script?
Script is I
I think we lost it.
I think we lost the
Yeah.
script.
Somebody caught it on fire or something.
Yeah. Alright. What's up, punk bitches? What's up, Pops? He's gonna come back. I can't wait for you to get back, Pops. We got all sorts of stories. I can't wait to hear yours too.
Will you ship Portillo's back?
Yeah.
He's the type of fellow that would buy the chocolate cake and then eat it. And say, well, I meant to ship it back to you, but see, the thing was, you couldn't get onto the plane with chocolate cake.
But there's that company though that will ship like Portillo's. and
Portillo's,
all
yeah, Portillo's will
other
ship it
stuff,
direct.
Gino's East and all
There
those.
you go.
Ooh. Yeah.
Too bad they
Illuminati's.
failed. Too bad they failed down here.
Gino's they tried down here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's
In
got-
my belly. Yeah, he already ate it. He already ate the chocolate cake. He already ate it. 20 seconds.
TSA rules.
I know.
Oh, should have.
I'll run up and grab
You
it.
sure? Okay.
Yeah. I'll get that. We got 10 seconds. Sweet. Awesome. What's up?
What is up?
What's up?
We're live.
Now let's cheers it up. Cheers it to everyone who's here.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers with all of you.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome.
Welcome, Jerry Vaughn. What's up from Orlando, Florida? Pops is up in the foreign country of Chicago at Big's Mansion right now, which is just like this place, except there are 3 people in it, and it's a mansion. How many
Yeah.
people are in Big's Mansion with you right now, Pops? I'm curious about that. Oh yeah, this is gonna go.
Did they all get a good day?
You know what? He's probably walking around Chicago just going, good day, good day, good day, good day.
To everyone.
Schwing, 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 all the way through. All right, so this is Cigars 101. This is our weekly get-together. We've changed up. This is now our second that we've changed up the format a little bit. It was usually just us spewing out what some would call knowledge, what others would not, but to hell with the others say. But now we're just kind of turning it into a conversation, so that way people who are on looking to and maybe curious about cigars, they can feel free to ask questions because we'll expand on any of those questions. This is an open show, but it also gives you a good glimpse as to what it actually looks like to smoke a cigar and the conversations that ensue. I think that's
Yeah.
most important.
Yeah, and as always, drop your comments, ask your questions. We have some very knowledgeable cigar guys in the room here.
And also Marty is here
I was
too.
gonna say,
Yeah.
and some not so knowledgeable ones.
But we got to chum the water. It's
Yeah.
You know, I realize we start talking about things that are so nerdy. You know, like when you're talking about the mezcal and the way that brings out the Nicaraguan, and you talk about those things, I realize maybe we need someone that knows cigars, but then isn't quite as entrenched in it. That's really what this offers. So over my right shoulder, 2 places here is our partner in crime, Adrian Barunda. And you guys already know him on Cigars and Guns.
Yep. And to my left is,
Marty Upton.
yeah, and to my right,
Mark McClurkin.
yeah, welcome.
Okay. We already cheers, right?
We did.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I want
do
to
it
make sure you
again
get
if
that
you
out of the
want.
way. I'm good with doing that because I think we had to do it for the soundtrack. So we're doing this one's for you, Nat. You're rolling in. Go ahead, share this post, and feel free to bring your questions into this. We're here to answer anything, and we're just here to kind of sit and bullshit. And that is what is exactly what is going to happen. But talking about no bullshit, this is the first question that you asked: is can we talk about new venture? Your new venture. What are you doing, and where are you in the process, and what have you learned?
I've learned that starting a cigar line is a gigantic pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very long process, but it's really been pretty cool so far.
Congratulations in advance.
Yeah, exactly. So Katie Cigars, which I think is great because Katie, C-A-T-I, which is the acronym for
Come and take it.
There you go.
Bafangu.
You know, we're a
Didn't know that.
Texas-based brand,
Badass.
and
Love
my
it.
family, both sides, fought the Revolution, so it's kind of an honorary for my family.
Mm-hmm.
An honorific for each of the blends is going to be named after a member of the family.
Nice.
And importantly, the way you're doing it is different, right? Because there's a way that most gringos do it. It's just a gringo with a checkbook that knows nothing about cigars. Or worse, it's a guy that played NFL for about 6 months and then decides that he wants to have a line. And then they all go to a specific factory who does the same cigar for every pro athlete who used to play pro football or pro basketball 400 years ago. And then they do the marketing and everything.
That's unfortunate but true. You're speaking the truth right now.
I mean, let's be real. In this industry, if it has a name of someone that you had a poster on your wall,
Yeah.
they're all rolled at the same factory for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all the same cigar for the most part. I'm sure there's exceptions, but for real, that's the way it is.
That's
And you're
it.
taking a different approach to it.
I am. I've been smoking cigars 10 or 15 years, and I've really just come to enjoy the process. Not just, from everything from the cut to the light, cold draw, everything. So I developed an appreciation for it before I decided, I like cigars, I'm going to start my own company. Well, if you've got a lot of money and you just want to dump some money into something, yeah, you can do that. You can get a $1.50 cigar and push it out to the market. But for me, I've made contacts here at the lounge. I've made other contacts outside, and it's been kind of a long process. I'm about 2 years in now, getting it started. We've got some samples coming in the next couple of months for our initial blend. 3 Vitolas,
And Vitolas is, in plain English, translates to what?
size and shape. So we're looking at a Toro, which is about a 6.5 by 52 or 6 by 52, Lonsdale 6.5 by 42, and a Robusto, which is 5 by 50.
Yep. Does that make sense? When he's saying 6.5 by 42, what does that mean to you?
Ring gauge. Other than that,
Like the
I would-
6.5?
I would assume length. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's it.
inches and then ring gauge, which is 1/62 of an inch.
Okay.
64th.
64th of an inch.
Yep.
And that's where one ring gauge gets to that. So if you smoke a 64 ring gauge, you're smoking a cigar that's 1 inch wide, and it means you are not tasting anything but
And
nothing.
You feel like you're getting teabagged by Shaq.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it. And we see that too. I just saw it in the lounge today. Literally, the gentleman I was helping before I came back here, he just wanted a big ring gauge, full body deal. I used to smoke acids. Now I want something peppery and big. And went, okay, let's try something. So for those who are smoking big ring gauge, full, huge
Yeah.
cigars, as much tobacco as you can step in for $11, boy, you are not getting $11 worth of tobacco.
Where'd you put them on?
I went to Mil Diaz.
Nice.
Okay.
So I put him to, I said, what I'm going to do is, Mil Diaz is by Crown Heads, and they're going to deliver all the depth of flavor and everything that you can handle, and probably more so, but it's going to package it in something that's much more approachable. And he was a bourbon guy. He knows flavors, right? So finding someone who just doesn't go, okay, I've graduated, now give me the most cigar for my dollar, or the most pepper and aggression. I don't know, Marty, I think your cigar process has been a little bit more guided.
It has,
Because-
thankfully.
Yeah, you haven't lived the normal cigar journey.
No, mine started by just hanging out with my uncle and just whatever he had available, whether it came out of a convenience store or a cigar lounge, who the hell knows. But till I met you and started coming up here, I really didn't have much guidance as to what was good, bad. Tried to keep it fairly mild to medium bodied as a general rule, but been kind of trying all over the place at this point.
What's been something that's been a lesson that you've learned that maybe surprised you that you didn't know existed?
Well, I mean, a little bit of everything. I mean, everything from lounge etiquette to proper ways to cut light. I was usually just putting the flame right up to the end of it till it burned the hell out of it, and then never realized why it was so bitter, and had those kind of interactions with a cigar. So
Yeah, and it's been great because that's where our responsibility is, right? As cigar smokers, as people come in, to not take that. How did we learn, right? We learned a much different way. Just smoke the shit that makes you look cool. It doesn't.
I started with Swisher Sweets.
Swisher Sweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. You waited until you were legal.
18, the day I turned 18, I bought cigars because I thought it was a cool thing to do. I enjoyed with my buddies, and we would go out and do a bonfire in the desert and smoke Swisher Sweets with a wood tip.
It was so cool all the way up until the Swisher Sweets with wood tip.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but to each their own. But you smoke so much. I just say it all the time. You smoke so many dog turds to get to good cigars.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And mine, that's a perfect example for me. That was 1989, and I graduated from there. I think my first real cigar was a Macanudo, Connecticut, whatever that was popular back in the 90s. And then joined cigar lounges, moved here, and found industrial, and it just blew me away because I never had the knowledge from the people that worked here, the people that you meet here, and it's just a great experience. And I travel. When I do travel, I go to cigar lounges, and it's not the same. And I don't know if y'all can attest to that. I'm sure when y'all do travels and go to different lounges, but you won't get what you have here at industrial.
No,
I mean, I don't. At least I haven't found that yet.
I agree. I think this place ruins you. Honestly,
Yeah,
because
it does.
and it ruins me. This place just ruins cigars for me. Period. Because I can't sit in our lounge and go, I'm not working. So it ruins. But then it ruins because the amount of times that you go, it's simple etiquette. It's people connecting with people. It's making sure people are taken care of. But when you go to another lounge and no one says hi, no one greets you, and you just sit, you smoke your cigar, and then you go home.
Yeah.
I wasted an hour of my life.
how boring.
How
Yeah.
boring. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in that situation where you kind of put the body language of like, it's kind of like double Dutch. You like wait and just see, I want to be a part of this conversation.
Wait for that eye contact.
Yeah. It's like, I'll kind of laugh at some of the jokes. Just like somebody say, hey, what's your name? Nothing.
Right.
I'm not saying no lounges do that. I'm just saying my experience has been very off-putting, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
go back to lounges like that.
Yeah, it's the same for 80-year-old guys that only talk to each other.
Yep.
They just blow anybody off that walks in. It's just beating.
Yeah.
You might as well sit on your porch and smoke.
So Sydney Montgomery's saying she can't find anything like
No.
ICC.
That's Sydney out
Sydney,
front.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sydney Montgomery, okay. Yeah, I can't find anything like ICC in Philly.
Yeah, he's going back to Philly tomorrow, I think, for the next couple weeks.
Okay.
He's actually a vet. He's U.S. Navy. He was on the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Oh, nice.
He's a stellar guy. New member. Him and his wife Roxanne just salt to the earth. Great people.
Nice.
That guy knows his shit. And I don't know if you've had a chance to talk with him.
Don't think so.
Yeah, but he comes up here and works during the days, and
Nice.
he's next level. He's a great addition to the shop. If you guys have this, I'm still waiting to talk to someone, and
I guess
I'm looking
is your
for
dad
it.
talking about
Yeah,
Biggs?
Pops is talking about Biggs. He's sitting in world class lounge, and he's just looking around looking for someone to talk to, and here he is, just like all the rest of you sad people watching us talk. So
You can talk to the ghost. You talked about having ghosts there, so
oh, is it haunted?
I don't know. Maybe
Is it haunted, Pops?
Yeah,
Oh, let me know.
it's probably that old.
yeah, screw that.
I might actually get my wife into a cigar lounge if it was haunted.
Oh, really? She's into ghosts?
She's into ghosts, yeah.
She's into ghosts?
Oh, yeah. Like, during the freeze, we couldn't figure out how cold it was in the house. All the electricity's off. You couldn't see the thermostats. She's like, I got one of those temperature guns out of my ghost hunting kit if you want it.
Yes. You know what? I almost got one of those ghost hunting kits that was sold by Ghost Hunters by that show, where it has like the EMF rating.
Oh, she went with them to the Stanley Hotel and ghost hunted. I mean, she's done all that stuff. So,
No way.
Yeah, I'll let you borrow the stuff if you want to.
No problem.
I told her no ghost hunting in the house. I just don't want to know.
You know what's funny? We lived in a house in Lincoln that was from like 1895. We swore to God that the place was haunted. Like light bulbs would just burst, and on multiple occasions, light bulbs would burst. You would hear things. Now it's probably the house because it's old as fuck, right? But I'm telling you, there was a time when Andrew was there. There were some really weird things that happened. You could hear like a boom, and then the light bulb would burst out up top upstairs. Weird stuff happened, right? So we went full Ghost Hunters. We sat in the basement, and it had a crawl basement. So you went to the deal. You open this hatch up, and then there was this old rickety wooden ladder. You go downstairs.
Yeah.
No lights, no electricity. It's just a basement that's all cinder block and dirt.
Wow.
And we just sat down there in silence one night, asking questions, like trying to get something, debunking it. No, we were a total
Ouija board and all that shit.
the whole deal. We didn't do Ouija because I was so convinced that it was actually haunted that I didn't want to mess with the Ouija and summon the spirits.
Yeah, you're right.
But oh my God,
I mean,
that's,
I'm the biggest skeptic when it comes to ghosts. So I mean, when you tell me something like that, I'm like, all right, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't, maybe you're imagining stuff. I don't know. I'd have to be there to witness it.
fully agree. In the moment, I heard. There were a lot of things that happened multiple times.
Yeah.
But now that I look at it 10, 15 years later, how long it is, I go, nah, that house was 110 years old. It was, there were probably generations that died in that house, but it doesn't mean they're hanging around.
Oh, there's a reason I won't go back to Jefferson, Texas.
Well, I mean.
Okay,
tell us.
what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We stayed at the Jefferson Hotel.
All right.
We get there at midnight. We've got this little plant stand that you have to put all your crap on in the bathroom because there's no real bathroom counter.
Gotcha.
It's one of the old Victorian iron ones
Yeah.
with the lip around it. You take your wife, she's got 5 million things to put in the bathroom. I've got my toothbrush and razor and like 3 things. So we put all this crap on the plant stand, and you don't dare fart because everything's going to fall off. Well, she takes a bath, and she swears she sees this mist that's like brown hovering around the tub. And it freaks her out.
That's probably asbestos.
Air's all staticky. That's kind of what I'm thinking. too.
Right?
Steam,
Like asbestos
steam from the shower.
The
Yeah.
asbestos kind of.
Yeah. I get up the next morning, and all our stuff's just piled on this plant stand. My stuff's gone. Her stuff's exactly where we left it. My crap is all gone. Can't find it.
Gone is like.
Can't find it.
To this day, you never found it?
Oh, I found it like 15 minutes later, under the tub in the back corner.
And she didn't do it?
We never left the room.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Was anyone taking Ambien?
No. This is the same town. The hotel across the street. It's Old Town, one of the oldest Texas towns. The hotel across the street is what gave Spielberg the idea for Poltergeist.
Really?
Because he would throw his briefcase in the chair, and 5 minutes later it would fly out of the chair into the room. That kind of crap. So it's just a weird town. The whole town is freaky. So
See, I kind of want that to happen to me, just so that I can get over this skepticism.
That's a good word,
Yeah.
but I think all you skepticism. But I don't know. Where do you say you're a dead no? Ghosts don't exist.
They don't. In my mind.
Where
I don't
you
know
sit?
what's going on this.
I mean,
there's stuff I can't explain.
Yeah, so he witnessed something I can see. I've never witnessed anything like that. I never stayed in a hotel and got there at midnight. In the Victorian age, whatever is the hotel, but I don't know. That's just me.
And your wife is a full-on ghost hunter. Where do you stand?
It's more about the experiences you can't explain. Like her mother passed years ago, and she loved white feathers. And every once in a while, this random white feather will just show up after we've been talking about it. Or her favorite bird was a cardinal, and all of a sudden we'll start seeing cardinals around the house. It's just little coincidences like that.
You know what? I'm with you, and that brings me to that point when last year when Nick passed, I'm sitting there, and there were two things that happened. One, I'm changing Ali's oil in her car, and I lay under and I slide underneath her car to drop the pan bolt, and then as soon as it drops, a pack of green Newports fall literally into my hand and bounce off my hand, and that's what Nick smoked.
What the fuck would Newports?
What would they be doing in the engine bay? Pristine, mind you.
Again, yeah.
So like that happened, and then I'm talking to my mom, and I'm telling her, and when you're going through the passing, you're
a little bit
open,
chills.
right? It's
yeah.
But this was the moment that like kind of gave me that piece. Is I'm talking, and I hang up the phone, and I was always being strong with my mom, and then once that was done, I kind of let it go, right?
I lost it, yeah.
And so I'm talking, and then I kind of start to lose it. I was like, I don't want her to be gone, and I just go like that, and in the exact moment, a song that he grew up listening to because he was friends with the lead singer of the band 311, and that starts playing as though we're having a conversation, and it was I Don't Want Her to Be Gone. That comes on, and the song is I'll Be Here for a While, Ain't Going Nowhere. So
yeah,
and that starts playing over my head like a conversation, and I look up the deal. And this is obviously me searching for things now. So I look it up, and, he's, Nick Frake's 13. Everything is in 13s. How many times do they say, I'll be here for a while? 13 times. And like all of those things happen. I go, I don't know if it's me looking for those, but it's good enough for me.
Sure.
I think that's a different realm, because now you're getting into, I don't want to say it's religious, but it's a different realm. It's someone that you miss that is your brother.
Spiritual.
I mean, and it's very spiritual. But yeah, if it's just like a ghost, your shit's missing, or you see brown mist or whatever, and it has nothing to do with that situation, that's different. But that and the situation and I've seen cardinals and white feathers, that's different.
Like your kid is, my son was like, sitting up at like 4 or 5 months, and he'd just stare upstairs up on the landing, and it's like he was fixated on it, and it's like
that's freaky.
I hope you're saying hi to grandma or.
I think Frank's son, I think his first word was ghost.
That's right. Yeah.
He was because he saw his kid on the monitor with his eyes open, and he went in there and he went up and looked over, and the kid just went ghost.
It was worse. He was rocking him in the chair, and he was over the shoulder, and he leaned back a little bit and went ghost, and Frank was behind him.
Not dad, not mom, grandma, Nona.
Ghost.
No.
Ghost.
Yeah, that's not okay.
No, it's not okay. You give that kid back, right?
Give him back.
Returns.
Ghosts do exist.
So
do angels.
The Chosen on Instagram, he said he was just here the other day. He got a tour. He saw the Saber. So obviously he came back here, and I'm glad he came by and got the tour.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for coming in. And I realize we have talked nothing about cigars, but we're hanging on. And Trader Dent says ghosts do exist. This is what cigars
Trader?
is, right? Yeah, Trader.
All right, we'll have to hear his stories.
Yeah, I'm curious. So do angels. I'm looking forward to hear those stories. For those of you who are joining us, this is Cigars 101, when we talk, give you all the information you need to know. So give this a share if you want to learn more about ghosts. So if ghosts, so what are we saying? What are we saying with ghosts? Are we going this or are we going this?
Honestly, I think it's more of a spiritual dimension. My Christian upbringing tells me that there is a spiritual and a physical dimension, and the two do interact. And so I think that's probably a mixing of the two dimensions.
Now, dropping that into it, let's look at the way that we as humans have evolved, and animals and that. We evolved to go to sleep, right? and we actually paralyze ourselves during sleep, and we escape to a different realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if the other side is you have 8 hours a day that you're just kind of going about? What if that's a connection?
8 hours, lucky you.
I'm talking about you guys. I'm not talking about me.
Yeah, I haven't seen 8 hours in 20 years.
What's 8 hours?
Okay, good. Yeah.
Are you talking about like dreams or just?
Yeah, like the dream realm. I don't know if that's where, when someone passes, I think you oftentimes see that in the dreams. You often get that connection. But is it our constant connection to something else? Or is it legitimately just the chemistry that your body needs and this, that, the other?
I mean,
or could it be both?
Now, I'm the type of person, and I think there's others around, that I'll dream, but I don't remember anything about what I dreamed about. Kathleen, on the other hand, she will dream and see, and like the next day she'll tell me in detail like what people were wearing, the colors and this. I'm like, fuck, I had a dream about something and I don't remember what it was.
You were there, and I was driving a go-kart. Yep.
That's her, but yeah, I don't remember my dreams. Do y'all remember your dreams?
It just depends. I mean, for me,
Never.
it's not very often,
Never.
but I will remember a few.
Never.
Only time I remember mine is when it's particularly stupid. So
Let's
I'll
hear it.
wake up pissed off because I've seen something completely idiotic.
See, and I get stuck in my dreams. So Ale knows it's about 3 times a week that I get stuck, where I try to get myself awake. And Ale knows if she hears me grunting to just wake me up, because I'm trying to get up. And I get stuck into these multi-level dreams where I'll legitimately I need to get out. And I'll get up, and then I'll be still asleep, but I'll be in my bed. And then I'll try to wake up. And that's happened ever since I woke up from heart surgery. I woke up on the table when they were doing heart surgery. Ever since that point, I don't know if it's remnants of that or what, but ever since, I get stuck, and I remember that stuff very, very, very immensely, because it's generally terrifying.
But do you remember the dream?
Most of the time, yeah. Like, obviously dreams fade away, right? But in that moment, no. I know what I was running from. I know what was happening. I know what I was trying to get out of the dream before the dream.
Gotcha.
And
did you not have enough anesthesia?
so when they did anesthesia, they put the drip in my hand and they taped it to my knuckle. And I remember that because I remember cold before I woke up.
Yeah.
And so when I relaxed, my hands faded and it
stopped.
pulled the
It pulled
IV
it
out.
out.
So the problem with waking up during surgery with the particular type of anesthesia I was on was I was fully awake, but my body wasn't.
Gotcha.
So if you've ever been stuck in that dream and that sleep paralysis and you can't wake up, that's what I was, but I could feel them in my heart.
Ow.
I could feel them because they had electrical pads trying to stimulate my heart to do something to zap it out. But I could feel it, and I was trying to scream. My eyes were open. I knew. I can remember to that moment.
And they covered your eyes so they couldn't see that you were awake.
No, they saw. No, I was. They could see that I was
But you
awake.
had like a cover?
Nope, I could see the nurse. I remember watching the nurse see me, and I had like a tear running. I remember distinctly waking up on the table and the way that felt in my
One of
heart.
those oh shit moments that they wake up to.
Yeah, it was a oh shit.
Did they realize?
After a moment, once I got something out, they knew shit was not right. But it felt like minutes. Maybe it was a minute. I don't know. But when they have high pressure electrical current pads on your entire body, stimulating your heart, and they're inside your heart with a it's a long cable that they needed to solder my heart. Boy, you feel that. A second probably feels like a day in that moment. It felt for real.
Somebody quick, knock him out.
Yeah, that's
He needs a.
yeah. So those who are just joining us on our cigar podcast, I need a little bit. So far we've talked almost nothing about cigars. We've talked about ghosts.
We talked about Mark's venture.
Oh yeah, we did talk about cigars.
Yeah.
My little bit of experience.
Your little bit of experience. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in.
Mike Sykes on Facebook says that he lives 5 minutes from a major ghost hunter spot Waverly Hills Santorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
I bet ghost hunters went there.
And if anybody's in the lounge, bring me another cigar
Oh yes, anyone who's watching this, please bring Mark a cigar.
because I'm going to burn through this one.
I can guarantee you somebody's here.
Locker 37, keys are in it. Just grab one out. I'm good to go.
Yes, please, someone help out here. Just walk through the private door, make your way back here. I think help is on the way. I think help is on the way.
So JP says he has one of those ESUs. If you want to play with one, I think that he's referring. He's in medical equipment, so
He might be talking about that electrical.
ESU. Yeah.
Yeah, I now have to travel with a portable.
Defibrillator?
No, it's not a
shit.
defibrillator. It's a portable. EKG. So now I walk everywhere.
The new Apple Watch does that shit.
It has EKG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want my fucking text messages on my wrist. Have you ever sat there and had a conversation with somebody and they keep going?
Well, you just turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
That's a
those.
smartwatch, isn't it?
It's just has pulse. Doesn't have EKG. And I can send that EKG to the doctor.
Apple Watch, yeah, it's constant.
That's a good point. I could post that shit on Facebook. Oh, David Mara is in. Who else is in? B Baldwin is in. Sound off. Who's in here?
B.
So you're smoking. What do you think of the Four Kicks?
I like it.
Is it okay?
It's good with the rye.
You don't have to say it because I'm standing here.
No, I like it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to firing up another Ron. I really enjoyed
The
that.
Ron.
That was good.
The Ron likes the Ron.
The Ron likes the Ron.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling him the Ron. No, that's a good cigar. We smoked that at my house the other day.
Yeah.
That was
Really good.
solid.
There's a few more. You better grab them before they go.
What do we got? Rancho de la Luna.
It's a nice little Joven Mezcal, kind of an artisanal.
Whoa, you're gonna dig that.
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna dig that.
It's pretty dang good.
It's
Friend of
not
mine-
too smoky.
No, it's not. A friend of mine sent
Yeah.
me that, and it's been fantastic so far. I can't find anywhere within 100 miles that sells it, but I'm sure I can find it online, and someone will ship it even though they're not supposed to.
The last thing
Olive oil.
that Mark gave me to drink was absinthe. And if I could tell you what absinthe tastes like, it tastes like battery acid.
Did you do the whole thing with the sugar cube and?
I tried. It doesn't help.
It did. I mean,
No.
I've never had.
It's
it,
the
so-
fucking worst.
You've got to mix it like 3-to-1 with water. Otherwise, it just eats your freaking guts.
You didn't tell me that until yeah.
Yeah, it's like 140 proof,
Oh.
and so it'll melt your guts if you don't mix it with water.
It's like battery acid with real LSD acid
Oh yeah, it's flaming
put together.
death.
It'll let you know you drank it for days.
Oh yeah, it'll jack you up if you don't thin it down.
I wish you would have told me that.
You'll have to try it again.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I still have a lot of that bottle left
Yeah, mix
because I
it,
was too afraid.
mix it about 3-to-1 with water.
Okay.
It'll bring out floral and anise and some other flavors that, certain cigars pair really well with it. But yeah, if you don't
What a Gurkha would go perfect with that, I think.
unmixed, yeah.
Yeah. Unmixed, you could just dip that in there and just light it on fire.
I mean, that would have to make the burger better.
Okay, so what do we got here? We've got Damon Morrow coming in, enjoying a pleasant day in June with some playoff hockey and Aroma Cro-Magnon.
Nice.
You're smoking Four Kicks.
Yep.
Okay. So Pops is asking. Let's talk about Sasquatch.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about squatches. We've all decided that we don't know if ghosts exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into this conversation, I just want to know how many. I already know here, but of you guys,
Uh-huh.
do you think Squatch exists?
Marty?
Do you think the United States of America has Sasquatch?
There's plenty of crazy MFers out there, and I think if there was one, somebody would have found it by now.
Okay,
That's-
so that's a no.
That's a perfect statement. I agree with Marty. Yeah.
That's a no.
Okay.
Somebody please
preach.
share this because we
Yeah,
need to know.
please.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but I've seen like 7 of them at this point.
Sharon?
We own property in Oklahoma that I share with a few friends, and they're there. As weird as it sounds, and I get it. I don't care if
You
anyone
hear the
thinks
knocking
I'm
on the
nuts.
trees and all
What
that
do you
stuff.
do? You think it could be just some sort of bear? Do you think it's some sort
You
of
know,
primate?
I'm used to seeing bears. You know, Oklahoma has bears. I see bears all the time. I see cougars, you know, the typical animals you see. But I've seen these things. I've watched them walk across a creek on 2 legs. It's the weirdest experience you'll ever have when you see one. Or you're sitting in camp at 2 a.m.
Drunk and high.
No. I don't usually.
Oh, it's
I'm not
different
sure
camp
which
than
one,
what I
yeah.
do.
Just drunk.
I don't usually drink up there because there's too many ways to get hurt.
Mm.
You know, it's rough terrain. You're in the mountains. There's too many snakes, spiders, crap that can really hurt you. And we're always carrying a firearm because there are bears, there are cougars.
Sasquatches.
So I rarely drink at all when I'm up there. So you'll be sitting at camp at 2 a.m. and the terrain is 45-degree slope. Nobody is walking around up there at 2 a.m. unless they want to die. You know, loose rock. You're going to bust your ass and kill yourself if you're up there at 2 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
with no light. But here comes a big rock flying into camp.
Like hurled.
Yeah, coming off the slope at like 30 miles an hour plus. Just sails right into camp and lands near you.
Here's my problem. I want to believe. I want to believe so hard that I would just take like a rock story and I go, that's it.
Go with me.
Oh, that sounds like a DG trip.
Go.
No, I mean honestly, it's. What do you think it? Well, you've seen it.
Yeah, it's.
What does it look like? Does it look like Nathan? Does it look like? Sorry, Nate. Just a hairier Nate.
Yeah, a lot of hair. No, I mean the last one I saw, or let's say the first one I saw. Very first one I saw was close to 7 feet tall. You know, we put a guy out in the same area, and it was the same width from chest to back as he was with his backpack. So almost 2 feet thick.
Okay.
You know, covered in hair. I can remember the matted hair on its shoulder.
Were you there specifically? I know you're at your camp, but were you there specifically looking?
I was there specifically looking for it. I was there by myself.
Trail cams?
We've got tons of trail cams out, which you're talking hundreds of thousands of acres.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And when you've got a trail cam that covers 500 square feet, the odds of getting anything are slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm out there, I'm by myself, taking my little notes. You know, if I see a deer, I take a note. Hear a sound that I can't identify, I take a note. And this big ass rock comes out and lands in the creek. And at this point, I've got a degree in animal science. And I'm thinking, this is all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm out here to find out because I've heard weird sounds before that I can't attribute to any other animal. My whole life is wildlife. I was a trapper, licensed trapper by the time I'm 12. So I've seen everything. I've hunted predators since I was a little kid. And I'm hearing these sounds and it's, what the hell? This is not normal. And this rock the size of a volleyball lands in the creek and blows gravel, 30, 40 feet out into the brush. So I'm watching and watching and watching, and absolutely nothing happens. Fine, whatever. I'll take my note. Okay, that was weird as shit. Rock lands in the creek. And our field notes are boring as crap. I mean, deer at 0600.
Yeah.
So I'm taking my notes, and I hear something crunch in the creek. And I look up, and there's this thing walking on 2 legs across the creek, covered in hair, reddish brown hair, top to bottom. I can't see its feet. I can't see its head. I'm looking through kind of a window of brush. And I sat there for like 2 minutes before I realized, oh shit, I probably ought to get up and go after this thing and look to see what the hell I'm seeing. And
It might be dangerous. Let's chase it.
Yeah, that's the American way.
And that's kind of how most of the encounters up there go. I mean, you see something and you're like, what the hell? And it lasts maybe 3 to 5 seconds and it's over. because you're in thick brush. I mean, if any of y'all have ever been in the Ouachita Mountains, it gets thick.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like Cambodia in the summer. 60-something inches of rainfall on average. So, I mean, it's dense.
Well, Damon is saying, he's on your side. Damon says, big hairy creature living in the woods in Oregon. Not only does he exist, he knows him. He's his uncle. So Damon knows up in the Northwest, he knows at least one. So that's good.
The group that I work with normally, they have maybe 40 sightings over the last 10 years. So
my only challenge with this is because with the knowledge of production and of just long telephoto lenses and
Thermal, the whole nine
like the
yards.
whole deal is maybe there is, but with the increase of technology I don't know if there is, but the increase of video sightings, right?
and they are increasing.
Oh, they are. So
They are.
So there are people that are making their way through because you're teeing me up for quite a rabbit hole tonight.
The number of people, the number of people that are getting shitty cell phone footage is increasing.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the jokes we make is that Bigfoot is actually blurry.
Yeah. I want to make just some car decals that is just a blurry version of Bigfoot.
Exactly.
I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've been up there with my daughter, and you know, January I was up there with my daughter, and I see something reddish brown and hairy duck behind the log. The dog is just losing its mind. So we decide, all right, you know, all I've got's a pistol. You know, 40
Sacrifice a dog.
Yeah, it's pretty much. So I've got a 40
Get 'em.
cal. I figure 40 cal is good enough for bear deterrent. We get back to camp. The dog freaks out all evening. And come about 9:30, 10 o'clock, it's 19 degrees. So the bears are in hibernation. It's January. They stay in hibernation until March or April. 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, my daughter says, I gotta pee. Fine, I walk into the outhouse, whatever. So we walk out there. And get her to the outhouse, she does her business. Well, let's look at the thermometer. Because she's all happy because pending snow, it's cold as crap. I'm freezing to death out here while she takes her time doing everything. And we stop and we shine a flashlight on the thermometer. It's like 30 feet from the cabin.
That's a very good Bigfoot.
From across the creek. And all I hear is, nope. And it goes dark. My daughter left me in the yard
With something.
with something large and grouchy.
Nope.
That's it.
No.
So, and this was back in January, this past January.
This year,
Yeah,
2021.
This year. The next day we go
What
out.
are you thinking? Because you got this shitty grin.
I can't discount that. You saw it. I'm not going to say that you didn't hear that.
For all I know,
If it was
what
me,
went
I'd be
behind
like,
the log.
Fucking
I'm going nam.
Full-auto.
I am napalming this bitch.
For me, for all I know, you know, having a background like I do, for all I know, what went behind the log is a cinnamon bear. It's not uncommon to see color change black bears.
But those are not in hibernation?
They should be
They
in
should be.
hibernation.
Gotcha,
Now,
gotcha.
do they wake up, hydrate, go back to sleep? Sure. So I kind of blow it off. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. It happens. And the next day we're down there, and she wants to take pictures of the waterfall. We're fixing to leave. She loves to take pictures. Takes her dog down there, and one of the sounds that Bigfoot supposedly makes is a whoop. So whoop.
It's also a very good Bigfoot.
And so
My uncle makes that noise too when we try to find him in a crowd.
It's from A&M.
Exactly. So I make that sound to get her attention, to get her to come up to the truck. Hey, let's go home. We're done. And she gets it from two different locations about 3 seconds apart, across the other side of the creek.
You're fucking calling the Sasquatch.
So it's, at some point you just go, okay, it's the monkeys.
Yeah, are there monkeys in Oklahoma?
That's
Escape from a nature preserve?
That's
something?
kind of our
Yeah.
affectionate name for them is the monkeys.
The monkeys?
There are monkeys. Because they act like apes. They throw things, they act bad, they sneak up on you.
They start throwing poop, I'm out.
Yeah, if they start throwing
Yeah, then it's definitely a monkey, right?
yeah, then we have a problem.
I mean, poop from a 7-foot tall fucking 400-pound thing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
what
a
I
Pringles
mean.
can. That thing is whipping through. Forget the volleyball rock. You're dead if you get hit with it.
But yeah, we've got pictures of tracks we found. I went with my daughter. We found I've got a 14-inch radio, counting antenna and all, big radios. We've got pictures of the tracks next to them, and it's bigger than the radio.
All right.
Jesus.
It's
I
a
don't-
weird spot.
So again,
It's a weird thing because we don't have a body yet.
Even the chop.
We need a body.
Yeah.
You talk to the old natives up there, the old Native Americans, and they'll tell you, you know what? Go in, wait a week, they'll come to you, and it's kind of true. If you go in deep and you wait a week, sometimes weird crap happens.
Could be a week.
Yeah, I mean, in this, the thing is,
You ready to DG trip for a
oh,
week?
I'm
woods?
so in. I'm just deciding how I'm gonna lie to my wife about why I'm going to Oklahoma for a week. But there's a very important client up there.
We're checking out Broken Bow. Let's go
Yeah,
north.
Broken Bow. Yeah, I'm gonna drop you off at a nice glamping spot, and
There
I'll
you
be
go.
back.
Yeah, we're actually an hour or so north of Broken Bow. You
Hey,
drive
that'll
through.
work.
Yeah.
You drive through
Well, I was
Broken
thinking
Bow.
Broken Bow, and we'll go out. And
But the thing that I'm thinking is, and I was thinking about this earlier today, it's like religion has been around, and God and gods have been around since as long as humanity has been around, right?
Yeah.
This concept of Sasquatch is not a new one,
No.
Yeah.
right? And like native people who lived in the bush, well, I guess we'll call it the bush, but in the mountains in Oklahoma, this is part of their folklore, right? This is part of their mythology and something that they already know.
yeah.
Read Theodore Roosevelt's autobiography. He's got instances in there that mention it. There are, look at Lewis and Clark's records. There are native tales of the hairy cannibals. So it goes back a long way. You find old newspaper clippings from Missouri and other places that say, well, these guys caught something that looks like an ape, but it's not an ape. And these are before even the first gorilla specimens were brought to the U.S.
Boy, I want to believe. What are you thinking, Marty?
I've never met anybody who has had that kind of experience, so I'm putting it back under the plausible category.
I mean, I got
Yeah.
charged by one maybe 6 years ago.
So, with that, there was a time I was sitting by the lake not long ago when they were camping down by the lake. There's a gentleman
Camping.
camping. But there was a gentleman who says, you probably have the most convincing story of any American that has ever encountered what we will call Sir Sasquatch. And he said you got charged. And he told me that he wouldn't talk about it. He said, ask McClurkin about this story. And he said, I'm not going to say it. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to ask him. So this is my formal request of what is this time that you got charged? Because this is like the time. And I should preface this. I trust you. That's my problem.
You're right.
Is I trust you and I know who you are as a human being. And you're not just a guy that happened to be sitting on the corner there and we said, hey, you want to go to this podcast? I've known you for a long time. Right? Like, so
You're
that's
right,
my
yeah.
problem. So
I agree.
so with that, you're a trustworthy guy from all intents and purposes.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm down there and I'm looking for these things because I've already seen them. I've already become just completely fascinated by the prospect. And I'm sitting there with a 30-06. I'm sitting right on the edge of a drop-off into a creek, like 6 inches. My feet are sitting at the drop-off. sitting in one of those shitty folding camp chairs, and I start hearing these sounds back and forth, and it's just, and it's coming from a couple of different locations. And I'm thinking, well, okay, yeah, that's really weird.
Again.
Yep. Chamber fire.
And, you know, they're like 30 yards apart, and it's just going back and forth.
Yeah, fuck that.
And so,
Narrowing in on you.
well, one of them is kind of behind me, back in about 7.
Fuck that.
Back behind me on my left, and the other's kind of in front of me off to the side. And so I hear something cross the creek behind me, and I can't see it. And I'm thinking, okay, show's over. Well, 10 minutes later, it starts up again. And so I did it back. And the next thing I hear is this just nasty growl. Just and I'm thinking, this is not okay.
Hair stands up.
Yeah. And so I look over my shoulder and I start to hear bump, 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 bump. And it's like something out of Jurassic Park. You see the trees whipping back and forth, and it's just getting closer and closer and closer. And
Adrian!
I'm like, fuck this. And I
I'll
can't
know
stand
for
up
that
because
6
if I stand up, I fall into the creek. You know, it's like a 3 or 4 foot drop down into this creek bed that's all rock because it's the middle of summer and it's dried up. And so I'm half standing and I turn at the waist and I've got my 30-06 in my hand. And when I do, I see this thing coming through the brush and it's just slapping the saplings aside. And that's why the trees are whipping. And it's on 2 legs and it's just almost like it's swimming through the brush, slapping these saplings aside, running at me.
I know.
And so I pull the trigger. And as soon as I do, as soon as I stand up as much as I can and pull the trigger, it slides to a stop and turns the other direction. Well, at that point, you know, my butthole is puckered.
Yeah.
And I've got that nasty adrenaline rush. I'm half sick from that. I kick my chair over so that I can stand up all the way, turn around, and I fired a second shot to keep it moving because this is not okay. And at that point, you know, apparently I've called on the radio a couple of times. I remember calling once, hey guys, come get me. Something's going wrong here. But I don't even remember the second call. I don't know if it was the adrenaline or what. But ever since then, I don't sleep with the blinds open because I have nightmares.
No shit.
No shit. Even with my backyard, pool lit up, backyard's all happy. You know,
Yeah.
no, the blinds are not coming open in my bedroom. Not at night.
Whoa.
See, my wife joined at the right time to hear
Yeah,
about Sasquatches.
Yeah, she's in, and just in case you're wondering, Butthole does actually go through the closed captions. So
Does
that's
it?
good. Yeah.
Okay, you could have cut washers off of it at that point.
So let me say it. We got a comment from Resolute Trader. He says, scientists have found dinosaur remains from millions of years ago, but no one has found any Yeti remains.
And I get that, but also less than 1% of the species that are potentially existed have been fossilized. We never even found a fossil record of chimps until 1995.
Good point. I didn't know that.
You know, in like
realize
2009, someone found a population of over 100,000 lowland gorillas. How do you miss 100,000 gorillas?
Yeah.
So if you're talking a few thousand across the entire continental U.S., I mean,
Yep.
Texas alone has more forest than would cover the entire state of Oregon.
You're kidding me.
No, Texas alone. So, you know, these are places that people aren't at frequently. So, you know, to miss 4,000 or 5,000 of a small breeding population of an animal is not uncommon. You know, I've seen jaguarundis in West Texas. And people will tell you, oh no, those have been extinct in West Texas for X thousand years.
You know what's funny is listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. He just talked about this with somebody, but he actually has video on his security footage.
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan on his security footage of an animal going across.
Since he moved to
Yeah, since he moved to Austin. So he's in Austin, and in his security footage, they've found out that it was how do you call it? A Jaguar.
Jaguarundi.
Jaguarundi.
The fuck's
They have
that?
found out that's what it is.
It's a small cat. They're typically found in South and Central America.
All right.
They do roam up into Mexico and Texas.
It's a mini Jaguar, right? Mini Puma.
They call them an otter cat. They got a really weird shaped head, looks kind of like an otter, but they're tip to tail less than 5 feet, and so they think a lot of people mistake panthers for being a jaguar.
Okay. All right.
And just a shameless plug here, a buddy of mine wrote a book called Shadow Cats that's about black cats that are spotted in the U.S.
Huh.
I don't know if he posted it, but he spoke exactly about that. It's all black, like a panther,
And
but smaller.
Yeah.
It's kind of the size of the biggest bobcat you've ever seen. What
I
do you
mean,
got?
I did a
Sean Ratz has a good. Yeah, he's good.
Those Sasquatch have the best beef jerky. I'll tell you what, I agree.
I actually did a hair analysis for the book that guy wrote, Shadow Cats. Somebody hit a black cat with their car. They said it's a black cat. I'm thinking, okay, somebody just hit a lab and they're freaked out.
Yeah.
Well, I get this hair sample in the mail, going through it with my microscope, looking at it, it's like, this is not a dog. This is a freaking cat. And this is a 1.5 inch long hair that's too coarse to be a house cat. And so I get to looking and I'm going through all the pieces of the hair, and the only thing I can find close is a jaguar. And it's solid black.
They hit the cat, but
They hit it and it ran off.
Gotcha.
And they hit the brakes, clipped it. They picked the hairs out of the bumper.
So it's elusive. I mean, no one's ever
I mean,
caught it.
you look back and you talk to Texas Parks and Wildlife. Well, there's no such thing as a melanistic cougar, which is a black
Yeah.
cougar.
Black Puma, black.
Yeah, black
Mountain
mountain
lion.
lion.
There's not.
No, not according to any documentation. It's never been physically documented. So
I think I've seen videos or
exactly, you see
Yeah.
videos, you hear people talking
Pumas.
about them forever.
Yeah.
not here, but of just jaguars or pumas that are all black.
Right. And we know jaguars turn black. There are
Yeah.
melanistic jaguars. So it's
Probably all live in Houston.
yeah, probably.
Wasn't there a tiger roaming around in Houston last week?
And that's one thing that people underestimate. Never get a big cat as a pet because you think house cats are bad. Try having one spray 3 feet up your wall and shoot off.
Yeah, or one that could fucking kill you. How about that?
They would not only can they eat you, but they piss on your wall and it goes 4 feet high.
Yeah.
That's not okay. That's why most people dump their cats. I mean,
No. I'd dump a house cat.
Yeah.
Ollie brought a cat home. I punched it in the face and I left it right on the road.
Well, there you go. That's exactly right.
I think Havana would take care of it.
Yeah, Havana wouldn't murder.
I want to get back to a comment you made earlier that with all the technology and camera and long lens, this and that and the other, there's a recent video of the federal government that saw a UFO, claimed to see a UFO.
This is where we're going. I'm for it.
And so again, I'm a skeptic about UFOs as well, because again, with all the technology we have and the video shot that they took, that the government took of this thing, UFO from the fighter pilot, whatever that he was flying in the air, is super grainy, and like our iPhones take way better.
But not at night.
Bullshit, the fucking iPhone will take good, videos at night.
Yeah.
With the light, it takes whatever.
If something isn't moving, most certainly. And that's where, again.
All right, y'all are going to excuse me for just a minute because I need a cigar and I've had
nobody
so much mezcal
rescued you.
I
that-
have cigars in my bag. Reach.
Well, I'm also about to wet my pants because I've had 4 pours
I
of
can't
mezcal.
help you with that.
I can't.
If you got an empty bottle.
But it's a good
When
point.
you come back to the big cigar here.
Okay.
Yep. I'll be right back. That's a good point though, because the more and more technology improves, the less and less ghosts, less and less of each one of these are.
Let's just say it's an F-18, whatever, F-22, super technological, multiple $1 million aircraft that doesn't have the camera equipment to Even if it's at night, I mean, I don't understand. I'm not a photographer, and you know way more than I do about that. But
yeah. So the problem with actual photography, the problem is the shutter. Whether it's a digital shutter or whether it's a mirrorless or a mirrored shutter,
Yeah.
what that requires for night photography is no movement. Because what happens is you open the shutter for 1 second, 2 seconds, or 3 seconds to let in that amount of light,
Gotcha.
and then it captures that to the sensor, and then it snags it.
even in video,
Even in video.
Okay.
Video's even worse.
Gotcha.
Video's terrible because you have to take what's called the ISO, which is basically your light sensitivity, and ramp it up. So at low light, you have to take a sensitivity and you have to manufacture light, which creates grain. And it's something that even $100,000 cameras, like a Red, in low light and dark,
Yeah.
you have to ramp ISO, which means grainy footage. And if you watch low light stuff, it's very, very grainy. But in photography, the problem is you have to open that shutter for a long period of time. So unless you have a flash that manufactures light, you're toast.
Alright.
So it's just the sensor that the technology needs to be there. And this has nothing to do with cigars, but it does have to do with what we're talking about. Which is, at the end, the problem is, even though the technology of lenses, the technology of bodies and sensors are moving up, it's not improving for regular photography, full color photography. The advantage, where I think adds tremendous value to what you're saying, is thermal technology, is FLIR, is all of these things that are not on the spectrum where we see photography being done.
Okay.
These images of night vision, these images, that should be, because that's made to not have to worry about this and give you a color image back. But if I were to take, for instance, if I'm going to take a picture of the stars, I need that shutter to be open for 30 seconds. If something moves in front, it's toast. Or if I move that camera 1 inch, it's blurry.
Okay.
So that's the issue. But getting into like the FLIR, like that go fast footage that they showed where they're tracking, pretty good footage.
Okay.
Now our sensors they'll improve over time, but having a pretty good working knowledge of cameras,
Yeah.
I'm pretty fucking impressed with that. Just the way that they're able to track with that.
So what about during the day?
tic tac?
When there is light?
You're exactly right.
Should
That's
it-
where
should
the
it
issue
be
is.
Better.
Yeah, it's like, do all weird occurrences happen at night? Ghosts happen at night. You have Sasquatch, most people will talk about it happening at night. You have UFOs happening at night. Well, what else happens at night? Well, we're getting ready to go to sleep, right? So you have androgynous chemicals that are being released to your brain. You're getting ready to go to sleep. Your imagination goes up. We're always afraid of the dark as kids because that's when the monsters come out.
Half a bottle into tequila.
Half a bottle of tequila, whatever it is, right? But that's where my skepticism lies, is just in the straight science of, okay, well, I've been camping and I've always sat there and gone, what if?
Yeah.
And I can manufacture truth out of it. And that's where, as our technology continues to move, for those who are still into this, congratulations. we're gonna need a body. We're gonna need to have a craft is different because the government could probably take it. Who knows? I don't know.
Right.
You could throw your tinfoil hat on, but all these things you can't bring a ghost body.
Yeah.
And that's one thing with the group I work with. It's got multiple biologists in it. So we've got the thermal image rifle scopes. We've got a 300 Win Mag and a 4570 with a thermal imager mounted on it in case we get a shot at night. So there's gonna be a body on a slab at some point.
There has to be, right? And then it's undisputable.
That's exactly right.
Have you seen his hand cannon?
No, I saw Lee Ostig's.
No, that's nothing compared to
I saw you guys shooting it when you went
when we went
hog
hog
hunting.
hunting. Yeah.
So the thing is this big, right?
It's not actually not. It's like
No,
half
it's an 11-inch barrel.
An inch barrel.
On a pistol.
Single shot 30-30. 30-30 rifle round in a pistol.
that thing will Sasquatch anything.
That thing.
Yeah, but you got one
Another
shot.
gun.
When we were moving and running in the heat, I couldn't shoot a target, an 8-inch target from 10 yards.
Yeah, but this thing, it's it's scoped.
Yeah.
I can hit a 2-inch pattern at 100 yards,
Yeah.
no problem.
Mm.
That's a fantastic gun. Damn, I love that gun.
You gotta have, yeah, the wrist power on that, you definitely need to.
Well, no, there's a trick to it. You let it go over your opposite shoulder.
And he does, I have video of him, and I'll show you later.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just-
tilt the gun a little bit so that when it kicks, it goes over your shoulder. Otherwise, it'll knock your head off.
Again, it's nothing like Ostegin's
His
Desert
Desert
Eagle,
Eagle.
yeah.
He's out there shooting his Desert Eagle. And all of us are kind of shooting like we're grabbing cans, right? We're moving, we're shooting. And we're stepped into it. And then when you watch Ostegin, and I'm watching him from the side, he's like this. He's like, oh Jesus, he's not even looking down range.
This is gonna hurt.
He's closed his eyes, and he shoots one off that goes about 4 feet in front of him.
58.
It
45,
Oh,
44, 44 mag Desert Eagle.
it's a 44. It's not a 50.
You can, I think, put
His a
50,
44?
but I'm shooting 44 mag.
That thing, it just any worm that was in front of him, it just parted the Red Sea.
Nice.
It was oh my god, it was the funniest. We just laughed at him the whole time because you can't shoot a fucking thing.
I've got a 460 Roland that I carry for bears.
Oh shit, yeah.
It's like a 44 mag, but it's essentially 13 rounds of 44 mag. So much fun to shoot. I got a compensator on it, so it doesn't bug too bad.
So Pops is saying, and Pops is, I would say, a skeptic,
Okay.
right? Then there's a new one that I haven't seen, but there's a new one from, I think it's from a cruiser, or maybe it's from a like USS Eisenhower, like why am I fucking plans lane?
Aircraft carrier.
Aircraft carrier. But they watch this thing track at like 600-700 miles an hour, and then it stops and it goes into the water, and then it comes back out of the water.
I haven't seen that
I
one.
saw that one. That
There-
was jacked up.
So there is one, and we need to watch this when we're done.
Okay.
But there is a new one that shows it going into the water, out of the water.
And is it fucking blurry and shit?
We're about to find out. We're about to find out.
I heard about that one.
I'm
That's messed
skeptic
up.
to all this conversation, but I'll research it, and I love seeing the videos, and I enjoy watching them. But I'm like, yeah, it's either I don't know.
My
I
problem-
can't explain it, but I just don't believe it.
But the problem is, like, I fucking trust Mark McClurkin. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I wish you were just some nutcase. You know, it's.
Kind of.
I mean, yeah, you are a little bit of a nutcase, but where you're a nutcase, we know you are. Like,
Yeah, you look at this weird stuff, and there's some things you just can't explain, and there are others, like Bigfoot. It's explainable. I mean, we have a fossil record of animals similar to this. The Gigantopithecus. It's
yeah, we have teeth.
Yeah, it's a relative of the orangutan. 8-9 feet tall. So you take North Carolina. We've got fossil records of red pandas.
9 foot tall.
Ape.
Uh-huh.
And there is a fossil record of it. And we have...
And it's pretty checked out, pretty legit.
Yeah, and-
Also put that on the list. Yeah, I mean, there is, and I don't know if it's Smithsonian. I don't know where exactly it sits now, but yeah, it's
there's
like
a fossil
checked
record
out.
of
Got the
it.
grin going on.
I know.
Then you take other animals that we know, like the red panda. It's still around today. It was around 10, 15,000 years ago. We know they crossed Beringia, which is the Bering Land Bridge, from China and came here. Well, why couldn't other species come here?
Yeah.
And why couldn't it survive? Because this is a much more temperate climate.
Yeah.
If we have red
Makes
panda
sense.
bones in North Carolina, why couldn't we have, and we still have red pandas around the world, why couldn't we have Gigantopithecus?
It's a good point. But I think we're all in agreement that the chupacabra does not exist.
Yeah, the goat sucker does not.
The goat sucker doesn't exist.
Yeah, somebody asked about a goat man earlier.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah,
said
somebody
goat
asked about
man.
goat man.
But that's different. Chupacabra is an animal, but someone said goat man. I think it was Trader.
Trader said goat man.
There's a goat man over in Fort Worth, and there's pictures of it from back in the '60s, and people think it's kind of a grayish or whitish Bigfoot. from over toward Fort Worth.
No, it was the Goat Man on SNL.
That was played by who? It was
Ben
Jim
Jackson.
Brewer.
Yeah,
Ben Jackson.
Ben Jackson, member here.
Oh yeah, that's so funny. Oh, yeah, that's Ale. I talked about the chupacabra one time,
Scout?
I think.
and Ale talked about. She remembered when the chupacabra was invented, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was at the same time that in Mexico they were coming through this legislation to give the politicians access to the Social Security Fund,
Thank you. Oh,
and it was like the same time. So
You need more.
So with that-
you buy into the UFO.
okay.
you could actually look at this like chupacabra when politicians had access, when people were voting to give access to politicians to the Social Security Fund in Mexico, which is now depleted, which is also coincides shortly after why the day before an election, no business can sell alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
It's all like in the same period of time. Withdrawals. No, people legitimately, when I was there in May, they were having their elections, and you can't buy beer, you can't buy wine, you can't buy liquor in a restaurant, anywhere. It's 100% dry the entire country the day before an election.
Damn, I
Sucks
need
for
to drink
vacation.
today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Damn.
This has been my favorite
It's-
Cigars 101
I
ever.
agree. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a little random.
5 minutes of cigars and solving the world's Sasquatch problems.
Sasquatch problem, ghost problem, UFOs, and I can't wait to watch that video. 'Cause my dad's like selling this on us in the comments. He's like, it was going very fast. All right, good point. Yvonne, oh no, I can't believe people are still hanging with us. This is pretty cool. Oh,
It's kind of been random today.
this is what the future of Cigars 101 needs to be, I believe.
I like it.
I mean,
So where do we go from here? I don't know. We end this thing, or
Yeah, we're in an hour. I think we're good.
I think we're good. So
Yeah.
then we have to take a poll of who believes in Sasquatch after that conversation.
No, I'm still in the same
Same?
mindset. Yeah.
yeah, mine's.
Thank you.
I mean, I'd have to go. Again, going back to the ghost thing, I'd have to experience a ghost phenomenon. I'd have to experience something.
He's gonna
Sasquatch
come back
related.
with a fucking fanny pack that's got a Sasquatch on it. He's gonna
Tank top.
You know, bear season starts in October, and I've got scouting trips coming up. I've got to go bait for the bears. So,
You go bear hunting?
yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. When I lived in El Paso, and we used to go hunting and camping a lot in New Mexico. And my brother-in-law would always say, "Hey, let's go bear hunting," and we never made it. But I've always wanted to go bear hunting.
My goal is to stick one with a bow this year.
That means you got to be pretty close to a bear.
Yeah.
That's up close
Yeah.
and personal.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty close, 30 yards or less.
We need to have Mark back, and then because I don't want to start this conversation now because it's alligators,
Oh, hey.
and we can go talk about alligators and
yeah.
alligator hunting and the skins and his brother and trapping.
I'll bring my case from Brizard.
That was with your alligator.
You should.
Yes.
You should have kept that. Do you have one? Just like the whole
Yeah,
skin?
I've got one at the house. It's like 9'3".
Yeah,
We'll
you
line the
probably-
table with it.
That'd be sweet. Yeah,
Well,
that's our next one. for
with
sure.
that,
Yeah.
tune in. Stay tuned in.
Yeah.
For those of you who are still watching, sorry you don't have anything else going on.
No, this is
But
great. I love
no,
it.
this is
Yeah.
awesome. It's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Mark, thank you.
Mark.
Marty,
Marty,
Appreciate
yeah.
Thanks for having me.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Love it.
Adrian.
Thanks
Well-
for the cigar. It's a hell of a
Hey, my
smoke.
pleasure. Thank you for the mezcal. that I had
Cheers to all of
finish.
you. Best of luck. Keep believing.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Keep believing. Thank you.